What is going on, everyone? My name's Boyt, and I'm back with some more Age Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the left side of the map in the red color, playing as Hades. His name is Kimo. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Thor. His name is Suppe. See, I looked it up on Google Translate. I hit the listen button, and it told me that's how you say it. So if I'm wrong, blame Google. Can't blame me. I feel like that's fair and reasonable. Do you not? So Thor versus Hades on Mediterranean. We've seen this kind of matchup time and time again. It's a difficult one for the Thor player, but Suppe is one of those guys who has been playing Norse at the top level for quite some time, and he's getting a lot of victories out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes into this game with some crazy ideas of playing Thor in this matchup. My favorite, this is some really nice pig micro here. That right there was beautiful. Even going to put villagers back onto the wood here. So for me, for what my ideas of what Thor players should be attempting to do against Greek on this matchup, it's all about losing the water gracefully, because in the top level, I really do not feel like you're going to be able to win those to win the water at the top level. If you can hold on to the water for a long time, you're in a really good position. So not moving away from your docks is the way to go until you feel confident that you can win is the other thing. Or grabbing second talent centers, or while your opponent is not, is also a way to go. Semi-fast heroics aren't a bad idea. Against Hades, it doesn't work as well. But we'll see. We'll see what Mr. Suppe is going to be going for here. Kimo, on the other hand, seems to be fairly straightforward what the Greek players do here. Looks like he's kind of butchered the build just a little bit here. But kind of Athena spamming archer ships and attempting to win the water as hard and as fast as possible is the way you want to be going. Getting out an early Chiron against Thor is some of the most devastating things you can do as a Greek. So getting your second age hero out, your archer hero out against Norse is really, really strong. And with Hades getting the Chiron out, it's even stronger because it's 5.0 speed compared to like the 4.0 speed from the other heroes. So it can be incredibly brutal for the Greek player or for the Norse player to respond to it. So in order to deal with a classical edge hero, you need a couple of Hursa out, and being able to afford that while defending against the shenanigans is a thing as well. So we'll see. Kimo already thrown up his temple. Generally speaking, you want to get to the classical edge about 3:30, so 2 more villages and he should be able to click advance time. Suppe over here has got a good amount of fishing ships. Has 8 fishing ships, which I think is a perfect number for Thor. You don't want to overdo it on the fishing ship early, because you are going to be losing the water. He does almost run out of Orok here. Looks like he kind of butchered this a little bit. He still has a little bit of food left. He does manage to advance there, even though if it is a little bit late. He's got a couple of dwarves on this wood that he can move over onto gold, no problems. One thing that Norse players should be attempting a little bit more often than they are is getting a couple of extra dwarves out early. And instead of just 4 here, what you're going to find might have actually he's got 5. Never mind, I tell a lie. 5 is a really good number of dwarves. But you want to this is why you want to get them out. It's because you want to have all of the food available to yourself, not spent on gatherers, so that you can build Hursa and go like that. The other thing is that, well, while Freya is great for the early pressure against a Hades player or something like that, I do think the Forseti is probably the way to go, so that you can utilize the healing spring on your shore. So if your opponent comes in and tries to get some abuse their range, you can counteract that with the healing spring. That being said, the Valkyrie can get some value, so we'll see if Suppe is going to be able to do that. Obviously making his longboats did advance slightly faster than Kimo, who is definitely hit the 430 there exactly how we wanted to. Minotaur comes out, a little bit of favor in the bank for Kimo, enough to build one Chiron. Both of these triremes coming out. So one thing you can do in the early stages of the game as Thor, if you advance first, is you can move out, try and get some pressure on nice and early as soon as the triremes start to come out, and you just retreat. So you can get a small advantage right now when you get to the 4 longboats, and we can see exactly what Suppe is doing here on the economies. He has built a gatherer, which surprises me, instead of just the dwarves. Let's check out the economic upgrades. We do have a hand axe and pickaxe. I don't particularly like the pickaxe early as Thor because you're always short on wood to produce these longboats here. But we'll see how Suppe goes here. He's going to be retreating, and he's going to be pumping out more of those gatherers and dwarves. Sending dwarves over onto wood isn't the worst. They're only slightly worse than there's the Cascopus in the base, and we do see a forest fire over here as I'm talking. We almost get a villager kill. He's going to get one from the Valkyrie. It's really, really good. He does have, Kimo does have this location over here and this wood location over here to go to. Minotaur in the base of Husk Suppe here. And he does actually lose his Olfsark here, which is really, really bad. This is why building those gatherers early was such a big mistake, because he needs to be getting out Herso to deal with the Minotaur and anything else that's coming in. We do see that Suppe ready to start moving out. We'll check on Kimo's ships here. He's got 8 ships compared to Suppe here, so he's going to be moving in, and we see some nice micro from Kimo. No micro from Suppe here. This is really, really bad for Suppe. He needs to not make those kind of mistakes, and he's basically just thrown any advantage he had in boat numbers out the window. They're almost losing 2, and there's no way to heal them back up because there is no healing spring. That being said, the forest fire damage has been done now for Suppe, so we'll see if he manages to come back in. Again, nice micro from Kimo, but does lose that single trireme there, almost losing another one, and we do see that Suppe going to be opting to retreating back to his docks now. He's sitting at 57 population to Kimo's 55, so still slightly in the lead. There is still one lone Valkyrie left here that can raid around. If you're Suppe, what you do in this situation with the Valkyrie, with the Ajax chasing, is you retreat back to a location like this, and then you run around the town center and make your way back into the enemy base while Kimo is not watching you, and that way you can keep the raiding happening. But he does not go for that just yet. We do see some pigs over here for Kimo. And now Kimo going to be attempting to pressure even more. We got 12 longboats, or 12 trireme to 11 longboats. So more than able to defend here underneath the docks with this amount of longboat against this amount of trireme. So Husky Suppe is still in a very, very good position here. Has this lone Herso here who needs to keep building those houses, and he's not building anymore, which is surprising. I would have expected to see a couple more Herso being built, simply for the fact that they are good to defend, good to continue with any sort of longhouse production. We do see that the trireme pushing in now with restoration. The fishing ship need to garrison into the docks, and that's going to force Kimo back out here. We're checking out the boats here. We've got 14 to 17, so Kimo starting to get a small advantage here. Nice micro from Kimo here as we see him pulling back that boat there. Husky does not need to fight this one just yet. Just sit underneath the docks. He's underneath only one of the docks right now, and Kimo abusing that range really, really nicely. He's managing to pick off a lot of those longboats, but some longboat trades back here into the triremes, getting a couple more pickoffs there, but it is such a low amount of population now for Suppe. 67 to 77 population here as Suppe just kind of dwindling to this really strong push here from Kimo. Does Suppe have anything left? He's throwing up the Dwarven armor, getting out some upgrades here. Probably not going to be enough, but maybe, just maybe, getting to the Heroic Age and making some Huskal throwing axemen could be an option here. We don't see him with extra villagers on to the pigs or anything like that, and it's looking like Kimo is probably going to be able to clean up most of Suppe's longboats here. We will see if that's going to continue. Suppe does not have the option to run forward and try and harass the fish, but we'll see if he's continuing boat production here. He is going to be throwing them into the docks. Well, when you're doing this, it's not a bad idea to just make the run, but Kimo is not falling for it. He's still producing his own trireme here, and Suppe at the 9-minute and 8-second mark has decided to tap out. An unfortunate one to start the series off here for Suppe. I feel like this mistake over here where he lost 2 longboats was the key. This was the key here. He did not need to take this fight at all. He could have continued with his defensive nature. And then with the extra 2 longboats in his battle here, he probably would have been able to fight that a little bit easier and micro a little bit better. And sit underneath the docks a little bit better, but he just was not able to, and Kimo was able to just show the strength of Hades here. The other thing that I noticed was there just wasn't enough harassment from the Valkyrie. Or when he brought this Ajax out here this far, he could have ran around this town center, this settlement, come swung around here, and then made his way back in onto these low HP villages that he did damage from. But he didn't manage to do that one there. So GG, well played by Kimo, taking the first game. We'll move on to game number 2 very shortly. If you're enjoying these games, please consider hitting the follow button on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.